Now, Eric's got a fascinating story. As the CEO and founder of SoundCommerce, he's got a lot to share with you. So, Eric, take it away.
Thanks, Bruno. And so just to introduce everyone to SoundCommerce, we are a data platform for retailers and consumer brands, founded by a group of Amazon veterans. And the purpose of our platform is to collect real-time data from virtually every system and data source that supports marketing and operations across a retailer or consumer brand. And there are three core concepts at the center of this platform and data model. We describe them as profitable growth, customer experience, and lifetime value. And really what we mean by that is an understanding of retail unit economics, the ability to track operational state and its impact on customer experience, and then the ability to combine those two concepts into a customer profile and a view of customer experience and customer value across systems and channels. We've built this platform on GCP after we evaluated some alternative cloud platforms. We're applying a functional programming approach and utilizing some very modern services, including Kubernetes, Kafka, and BigQuery. But the real multi-cloud story here relates to our customers. And you can see some of the logos laid out here on the slide, companies that we serve. You know, it's our goal to help these brands and retailers integrate with and act on data that resides and is flowing, frankly, all over the place. So at the center of the platform, we're bringing together data sources and orchestration targets that range from modern SaaS tools like Shopify or Salesforce or NetSuite, as well as cloud services like AWS Redshift or S3 or Azure SQL, and even legacy data sources like EDI and SFTP flat file data sources that would support things like warehouse operations, fulfillment, and the supply chain. And the core of our platform is this multi-cloud data graph that is prescriptively built for the retail industry and presents data in a way that it can easily be modeled and orchestrated in flexible ways. We need the ability to get that data from all over across multiple clouds, rationalize it, and orchestrate it anywhere. And the result of all of this work is, well, there's a variety of outputs of the platform. We support the ability to do direct query of the underlying data. We support the ability to create triggered workflows to push data into downstream systems, say Zendesk or HubSpot. But we also provide the ability to visualize and analyze the data through an embedded instance of Looker. And that's what you're seeing here on the screen. And in this case, we've pulled together a variety of data sources: Shopify, Returnly, Google Analytics, ShipStation, and NetSuite. And we're building this real-time profit and loss waterfall for an individual order and, in turn, an individual customer. And these margin insights that we provide through this Looker interface support decisions that range from inventory allocation and location optimization to shipping upgrades and downgrades, even ad spend allocation and the targeting of promotional offers and discounts. Here's another Looker embedded screenshot. This is a concept of order status in real time. So throughput and processing speed is super important in order to be able to act on real-time order status with awareness of a particular customer. In this case, our customers are prioritizing fulfillment based on new versus returning customer identity, according to customer loyalty club status, according to marginal profitability, and even customer lifetime value. And the key here is that our customers run a very unpredictable and heterogeneous ecosystem of software tools and data sources. In fact, some of our larger customers are running on-prem legacy systems that date back to the early 1990s, which I can barely remember. And given our team history in enterprise data integrations with EDI, with data feeds, and with traditional databases, we knew going in that a fixed schema point-to-point integration approach was not going to work for our customers. So what's going on behind the scenes? Well, if you think about a traditional approach to this enterprise integration problem, you start with ETL or in the modern parlance, ELT, because the transformation is happening sort of at the last moment, if you will. And the problem is that you end up in this race condition where as the number of nodes grows, as the number of data sources on the left and the number of orchestration endpoints on the right grow, keeping up with the evolution of those APIs and the changes to schema and the changes to format becomes unsustainable. You've got your IT department or your system integrator working constantly simply to maintain what's already been built. And so it becomes very difficult to try to go and add new data sources and support new use cases over time. And we talk about this at SoundCommerce as an n-squared problem. Every new node drives exponential complexity. So when you look at what's happening under the covers at SoundCommerce to address this problem, what's happening behind the scenes is that we are collecting raw data from these multi-cloud sources through a combination of source-specific and generic adapters. We don't worry necessarily about ascribing meaning to the data until we've parsed the messages into atomic data entities. And these could be something as simple as a zip code or a customer first name or last name. And then eventually, when we know a use case or an orchestration endpoint, we roll these individual data elements up into these unique models. And this is very much in keeping with the semantic modeling that Nikhil mentioned in the prior session and the strength of LookML. In this case, we're actually doing some of this semantic modeling even in advance of the data warehouse. And the importance of that is to be able to support flexible orchestration of the data to non-BI endpoints. So at the core of the platform is this semantic mapping and data modeling engine that supports multiple models and multiple ways of getting to the data and actioning on it. And I guess what's important about this then is that when we come back to this complex multi-source, multi-endpoint integration problem, we're reducing that n-squared complexity down to something that scales much more linearly in terms of engineering investment and IT investment. And as far as the takeaways go, we see multi-cloud as a very intentional strategy informed by practical realities. You will not have control over what your partner chooses to run, what some other department chooses to run, or what your international subsidiary might be running. And while there are important benefits of multi-cloud diversification, it's important to maintain that flexibility in order to accommodate as many business needs and end user use cases as possible over time. And architecture matters, right? It's a function of selecting the right tools in the first place, but also thinking creatively about how to orchestrate data through the platform. So when it comes to do's and don'ts, I've got 6 of them here. And then Bruno, I know you're going to review these overall together with us in a minute. But the first one is just thinking about future-proofing. We believe at SoundCommerce that it's important to remain agnostic in terms of cloud and data sources and endpoints. Again, you're not going to be able to predict the future, and so don't try. It's important to contemplate that change is inevitable. And so we're talking about planning for and architecting for dynamic and heterogeneous systems and data. When it comes to the nature of the end user and the use cases that we think about, there's this whole theme of consumerization of enterprise technology. And it's clear that business decision makers are becoming more data savvy over time. They're going to want transparency and control. And so the idea of some black box data model that is obscured is not useful if you're trying to validate the data and share insights and so on. There's a flexibility component here, which is that there will be inevitable new use cases and more data orchestration endpoints over time. And then I thought I had to mention security, although I didn't talk about it specifically in terms of the architecture of our platform, because we're dealing with shopper personally identifiable information. And in light of CCPA and GDPR and SOC 2 compliance, it's very important to make sure that the data model supports modern privacy and security concerns. And then my final comment on all of this is simply that We don't think about this data integration and validation problem as a project per se. It is a never-ending, ongoing process. And so it's best if you set expectations regarding that in advance with your team and with your customers, and also instrument for that ongoing iterative process that never ends, but hopefully out of that process comes continual improvement and support of your end users.